teenage girl's half-naked body was found by a fisherman, face down, in the shallow Harpeth River about 200 yards from a bridge at McCroy Lane in Nashville, Tennessee on the 24th of March, 1976. When she was found, she was only wearing a white bra and blue jeans. Weirdly, she had what appeared to be a phone number written on her back, with photograph of a young blonde-haired boy that was resting beside her with the words "Little Charlie" written. Once professionals were able to get to the location, an autopsy determined that she had been dead for only roughly 18 to 20 hours. The cause of death was ruled drowning by unknown circumstances. Bruises were found on her legs and breasts, with it also being stated that she had had sexual intercourse within a few days before her death. It was also unknown at the time if this was consensual or she had in fact been raped. However, based off the fact that her clothes were removed and bruises were found on her body, detectives were more inclined to believe that a sexual assault and murder had taken place. Once the girl was found, they were able to assess that she was a Native American, Hispanic, and/or white. She was 14 to 17 years old, with a height of 5'2" and weighed between 120 to 130 pounds. She had black-brown hair, brown eyes, and several distinguished marks, including a mole near her left eye, 2 surgical scars on her abdomen, and older scars, possibly cigarette burns, on both her arms. A blue blouse with white polka dots was later found hanging on a tree 3 miles upstream from where her body was found. Investigators are inclined to believe that this belonged to the victim and was removed on the night of her death. Investigators called the phone number on the back of the photo labeled Little Charlie a few days after the body was found. A man named Charles Moore, a 24-year-old from East Nashville, answered. Charles told detectives that he and his brother-in-law, Milton Collins, were driving southeast along Interstate 24 near Nashville in Milton's truck on March 15, 1976. 9 days before the girl's body was found, when they came across 2 young female hitchhikers. They later identified the deceased victim, who they said went by Sherry or Cheryl, as one of the 2 women they gave a ride to. They described the other woman as a slender, sandy, blonde woman around the same age with wire-rimmed glasses. The men said the 2 women had told them that they ran away from a mental hospital in the St. Paul, Minnesota area and were heading to Florida, around 700 miles southeast of Nashville, to see the blonde woman's husband. They said the victim was being treated for alcoholism, while her friend had been suicidal and had visible scars on her wrists. Charles said they dropped the girls off near an exit around 85 miles southeast of Nashville, saw them entering another southbound vehicle, and that was the last time they saw either of the girls. He explained that he wrote his phone number on the back of the picture, who was the blonde woman's son, since it was the only scrap paper available at the time, and he wanted them to have his number just in case they ever passed through the area again. 9 days later, the dark-haired girl's body was found 90 miles in the opposite direction from where the 2 men last saw the woman. Despite the information provided by Charles Moore and Milton Collins, police were never able to locate the blonde companion. A check of the hospital records in the St. Paul, Minnesota area did not return any results for escaped or missing patients. Fingerprints and dental records were also later checked against the national databases, but have yielded no results. Now, you may think this is pretty bad already, but it gets worse. DNA is not even possible in this case. The current detective said the grave markers in the local cemetery where the girls were buried have been moved since then, so it isn't clear where the body is located. They did, however, make post-mortem police photographs available, as well as detailed composites, since she was easily identifiable based on how recently she was found after death. Jill Weaver of the Metro Nashville Cold Case Unit stated the following. She hadn't been deceased for a very long time when she was found, so the photographs that we had are the best way to identify her at this point. I believe they did a rape kit, or all they had available for a rape kit at the time, and it looked like she had had intercourse within a close time frame of when this happened. Still to this day, nobody knows what happened to her. Now, this is where I ask you guys, what do you believe happened? Some things we have to take into consideration are firstly, the accuracy of the dates. Little Charlie said that he gave Sherry Doe a ride on March 15th. What if this encounter didn't happen and was actually on March 23rd, the day she was murdered? Police called him several days after the body was found, and it was already in the news at that point. Both men lived in Nashville and could have easily have heard about it. Several days gives you enough time to think of a story, and if they called him, then invited him for questioning afterwards, that's even more time. Could they have been the ones to commit this crime? But, if so, why give their contact details and name away to the authorities so easily? On the flip side, investigators mentioned that there were no records of the girls being at a mental hospital, and if the drivers were telling the truth, why would the girls have to lie about this? Maybe they were involved in some illegal activity and got in with some very bad people, needing a cover story to catch a ride. Maybe the car the two girls got into after Charles's was who they were planning to meet after all, and not go to Florida like they initially said. If this were the case, and they were involved with some bad people, the cause of their death could have been the result of the higher-ups having their way with and then disposing of loose ends. Although investigation is still open, with this event being so long ago and the case seeming to get colder and colder by the year, this story may never have a conclusion, and the girls may never get the justice they deserve.